President Biden signed an executive order regarding federal policing. In May 2022, President Biden signed an executive order to hold federal law agencies more accountable. What are federal law enforcement agencies? Federal law enforcement agencies work at the federal level and are part of the executive branch of the U.S. government. Some of them include the American Correctional Association, ATF-US, Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives, Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, Central Intelligence Agency, or CIA for short, Center for Problem-Oriented Policing, Community-Oriented Policing Services, Computer Crime and Intellectual Property Section, the DEA, also known as the U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration, Department of Justice, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, or FBI for short, the Federal Government Agency Indexed, Homeland Security, the Justice Technology Information Network, or NIG Corrections for short, National Criminal Justice Reference Service, National Institute of Justice, National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, U.S. Marshals Service, U.S. Park Police, and the U.S. Secret Service. In this video, we will look at some of the mandates or requirements of the Federal Policing Executive Order, National Database for Police Misconduct. All federal law enforcement agencies must partake in the National Law Enforcement Accountability Database created by the Attorney General, as required by the Executive Order, or EO for short. The information provided in the database are records of officer misconduct, including, but not limited to, convictions, decertifications, civil judgments, and so forth. It requires all agencies to use the database when researching personnel. State and local enforcement agencies can also use it and enter their records. Some information from the database would also be available to the general public. Establish detailed investigations and consistent discipline in a timely manner. This EO mandates that federal law enforcement agencies create effective ways to meticulously gather evidence after events where deadly force is used or deaths in custody occur. Make sure the right type of disciplinary action is administered to those agents involved and stop needless delays. All federal agencies must try to de-escalate situations and limit the use of force unless necessary. All federal LEAs must adhere to the Department of Justice's updated policies on the use of force. The use of force can only be applied when it's clear that de-escalation efforts are futile and there are no safer alternatives. The federal law enforcement agencies must provide annual training on policies, execute risk management tools to reduce and prevent problematic behavior, and make certain the agents are held accountable when they violate policies. The public also has access to the DOJ's policies via their website. The EO also bans the use of chokeholds, places strict limits, no-knock warrants, and use of force data must be recorded, and the EO requires anti-bias training for all federal law enforcement agencies. I just want to quickly mention, if you're still watching this video, thank you. Also, if you like the information so far, we encourage you to hit the like button. It helps us out greatly because it lets YouTube know that you find our video informative. And with this being an important election year where so much is at stake, liking this video helps send it out to the YouTube world where other potential voters could see this information. Now back to the video. We're implementing Obama-Biden era policies on transfer of military equipment. Obama-era policies that Trump reversed regarding restrictions on the transfer of military equipment will be restored and expanded on. This EO, quote, imposes sensible restrictions on the transfer or purchase with federal funds of military equipment that belongs on a battlefield, not on our streets, end quote. State and local law enforcement agencies will continue to have access to suitable and proper equipment for active shooter situations, disaster-related emergencies, hostage situations, search and rescue missions, and anti-terrorism endeavors. This EO emphasizes officer wellness. The DOJ and HHS will create guidelines on ways to promote officer wellness and pinpoint resources to support wellness programs, and mandate that each federal law enforcement agency evaluates and upgrades its own officer wellness program. The Attorney General must suggest actions that can be taken to address and prevent officer SCDE. These are just some of the many federal policing mandates that are in the EO. I have included some of them in their original wording in the description box. I should reiterate that these mandates are at the federal level and deal with federal law enforcement agencies. It is still up to the individual state and the state's legislature to enact mandates and policies for their law enforcement. Because of checks and balances, the federal government can only do so much. I feel it's also worth mentioning that Trump rolled back many Obama-era or previous administration policies aimed at holding law enforcement more accountable or protecting civil rights. Trump also undermined President Obama's Justice Department plans to hold police more accountable. This concludes our video. If you have managed to watch it until the end, we thank you. If this video has been helpful to you, liking and sharing this video and subscribing to our channel would mean a lot to us. What that does for us is it gives us an indication that we are building an audience and that we are creating helpful content for our viewers.